YTBC. This is your boy Coach Shelton Harrison. And guys, I want to give a shout out to Jay Sewell on this video. I want to give a shout out because I'm going to kind of add on. And this is going to tie into this video that I just dropped about Canelo Alvarez and Dan Ambrose. And I also want to give a shout out to 78 Sports TV, Ticket TV, and 10 Players News. I want to give a shout out to those guys and anybody else that I politic and dialogue with back and forth. Guys, Dan Ambrose, he got to be the dumbest boxing writer in history, man. I think he is second behind uh, Skip Clueless and Stephen A. Stupid. He got to be second behind those two idiots too, man. These guys should not be allowed to talk boxing. You see, Dan Ambrose is all happy that of the winner of Canelo Cotto could possibly face the winner of Rios and Bradley. People, no, man. Because I think about Tim Bradley and his fight with Ruslan Provatnikov. Like, I really think about that fight. And Tim Bradley was concussed, man. The dude had slurred speech, man, for months. He was concussed, man, badly in that fight. But a lot of fighters, actually, they do get concussed. It's a normal occurrence in the sport of boxing. But, some concussions are much more severe than other ones. But the end result of a concussion, y'all, is a coma. That's what it is, okay? If you don't stop, I guess, the contact, the brain to the skull, if it doesn't stop, what the body does is it will shut you down. And that means it'll put you in a coma. And sometimes comas are not bad. Like, a coma can be induced by your own body, okay? And it will shut down all your body functions so your body can actually concentrate on trying to heal the area. That's why people go into a coma. And I'm even thinking Pritchard Colon is going to come out of his pretty soon because his damage was a bit more severe, man. Bradley was hurt badly in the Provatnikov fight because he tried to go toe-to-toe with this man. And, when he was boxing Provatnikov, he was okay. He didn't take a lot of punishment. But he tried to, personify this thing of him as being a warrior, man. And he went in there and fought with his heart on his sleeve, man. And he darn near, man. Tim Bradley could have died in that fight. Tim Bradley finished that fight on his knees. I'm talking about he finished it he was on his knees, okay? Tim Bradley was out on his feet most of that fight. How he came back, and I don't know how he did, man. The guy got a heart. But it only goes so far, man. That heart also, I kind of call it stupidity. Tim Bradley fights some of the dumbest fights, man. Tim Bradley, hands down, has some of the dumbest strategies in the sport of boxing. He does. When the man, his best fight was when he fought against Marquez. That was his best fight. The best fight that I've ever seen him fight on paper is when he fought Marquez. He kept it strictly boxing. He outclassed Marquez easily. I mean, if Tim Bradley would do that for every single fight, you see, I'm going to tell you what Tim Bradley's problem is. See, his problem is he don't want to get called out like Floyd Mayweather got called out. Because, see, Tim Bradley don't want to be called a runner. Tim Bradley want to be a fan favorite. But, see, the fans don't even love you anyway, Tim Bradley. They boo this man. This man be trying to talk, and then they boo him anyway. Even though this man fights hard, people still boo him. People still talk about him no matter what you do. And I'm sorry, for people like Tim Bradley, Guillermo Rigondeaux, Floyd Mayweather, Andre Ward, no matter what you do, the fans are never truly going to accept you. There are some fans that's just not going to accept you, and that's just the way that is. They're just not going to accept you. Okay? I don't care what you people say. You can come on here. You can try to give me your opinion on the thoughts of the matter. No, that's the truth. There are certain fighters that fans are just never going to accept no matter what they do. Okay? See, even me, I was confused about 5 years ago. I thought, well, maybe Floyd Mayweather is just this butthole, and people just don't like him, But then I started seeing that, wait a minute. Why they don't like Keith Thurman? Keith Thurman fights pretty hard. Keith Thurman don't move his feet a lot. Keith Thurman stands in the pocket. Why they don't like him? Now, I got my reason. I criticize Keith for other stuff. But when he's in an actual fight, Keith Thurman puts his heart on his sleeve as well. And then, they boo Keith Thurman. And then, I look at Guillermo Rigondeaux, the guy knocking out 70% of his opponents. They boo him. They boo him. They booed Errol Spence. I mean, people, there's a pattern. They booed why boo Errol Spence? He's calm, he's cool, collected, gives good interviews. Why boo him? I mean, people, Bradley, you got to understand at some point in time, man, you're trying to go into a battle with Canelo Alvarez. And I'm sorry, man, if Ruslan Provatnikov managed to make you finish that fight on your knees, Canelo Alvarez going to send you to the hospital. He's going to give you a one-way trip to the hospital. Look what he did to James Kirkland. And I'm not saying that Kirkland and Tim Bradley are the same fighters, so back up at ease, okay? I'm not saying that. But Kirkland definitely is a much bigger fighter. Kirkland can take harder shots than you, Tim Bradley. You get in the ring with the Canelo, it's lights out, man. Tim Bradley is going to the hospital. I'm not excited about that fight. I'm not. Canelo is Canelo is a freaking. You can say he's a middleweight. I can even say he's a super middleweight, campaigning at 154. He's really a 168 pounder that campaigns at 154. I never understood that. And Canelo, man, I support you, but you got to get off that BS, man. You need to go on and move up, man. At least get yourself up to 160. But let's keep going on with this video, guys. I'm not really excited about Bradley fighting Canelo. I mean, Tim Bradley. People say, oh, but Tim Bradley walks around at 170. But Tim Bradley is structurally a smaller guy. It doesn't matter what he walk around at. The guy is small. He's structurally a smaller guy. He is a small guy. Okay? He goes in between 140 and 147. He fights. Canelo can walk around in as much as 180 pounds, y'all. I'm talking about that's his walking around weight. Tim Bradley probably can walk around between 165 and 170. But Canelo structurally is a thick person. He's a big, thick, strong person. Tim Bradley structurally is not a big person. Just because a person weighs, see, this is what I hate about some people that come on here and they try to debate with me. Just because a person weighs something, weight and size means nothing. Because a person can weigh the same thing, but a person can be structurally bigger. Doesn't matter what they weigh, but a person can be structurally bigger than the other person and still have an advantage. But you can't explain that to some of these people who smoking this darn crack, who hard-headed. You just can't explain it to a hard-headed person. Okay? So I ain't going to even go into detail trying to explain this. I'm just not going to do it. Tim Bradley is structurally a smaller person than Canelo. Okay? It's a mismatch. It's a complete mismatch. It'll be the mismatch of the century. I mean, Tim Bradley can probably move and box all but so much, but then he going to take a couple of shots and he going to try to brawl with Canelo. That's been the MO of Tim Bradley. He done it at every fight except for the fight that he fought Marquez. He's done it in every fight. He's going to try to brawl. And the minute Tim Bradley try to brawl with Canelo, could you imagine? Think about James Kirkland. What happened to him? What James Kirkland tried to do. Try to go in there head first. And Tim Bradley going to do the same thing. But the result going to be different. He going to send Tim Bradley going to the hospital after that fight. And Tim Bradley is going to be put to sleep. Okay? Tim Bradley is going to sleep. He not going to even be out on his feet. Tim Bradley is going to sleep if he fights Canelo. A better fight for Canelo, even if Rios loses the fight to Bradley, it'll be Canelo versus Rios. I could even see that fight, even though Rios is a big 147 pounder. He could go up to 154. Rios got a tough chin. Canelo, he not knocking Rios out. He ain't knocking him out. Okay, I would love to see that fight because Rios structurally is a big person structurally. Now, just because he weighs in, he's in the 147 age, weight class, doesn't mean anything. Because Brandon Rios walks around, man, at about 165 pounds. He walks around at that. Okay, so he's structurally a bigger person. Brandon Rios can easily go to 154 and even meet in a catch weight between 160 and 154. He could do that and be a better match for Canelo than Tim Bradley. And that's just how that is, okay? Because Brandon Rios and Canelo, they're both flat-footed, so it's not going to be a lot of movement in that ring. They're just going to be standing there going at each other, okay? Brandon Rios will put pressure on Canelo. Canelo will catch Brandon Rios with a couple of good counters. And that'll be an exciting fight. But Tim Bradley, if you get in the ring with Canelo, man, you going to the hospital. And somebody on his team, somebody that give a damn about this man, somebody close to him, they need to tell him, man, don't do it. Because you're going to end your career. If he gets in the ring with Canelo Alvarez, he's going to end his career. This is your boy, Coach Shelton Harrison. I'm done.